So this is stemming from a question that became a discussion, which I thought was a very good topic for a video. Levels of appropriateness with the opposite sex and social distancing. So what do we mean? There are, I think, at least in my opinion, I think there are some cases where we really have to be very careful with how we relate with the opposite sex. Married or single doesn't matter. I think the question is the level of closeness appropriate or not? Now, this is especially true for married people. Okay, so let me just give a few tips or a few thoughts. Just not to sound legalistic, but my intention is just not to sound mean, but to be safe. Okay, so just a few things. Cars, for example. If you have a car and you've got a friend of the opposite sex who needs a lift, I would rather they sit in the back seat. If you're not boyfriend girlfriend, if you're not in a relationship, then let the person sit in the back seat, especially if it's just the two of you. If you're married, that's even worse. If you're married, like I'm a married guy, I don't really take other women aside from my wife in the car at all. If I really have to, and it's a friend who needs a lift, really needs a lift, they sit in the back seat and I tell my wife, I am dropping so and so to this place, then I'm coming right back. And then I text my wife when she's out of the car. I keep in touch. All right. So this is not to be legalistic, but just to play safe. Other things or other situations involve dropping something off in a friend's house who's not your wife. If you're single, so you're not married, then just in general, right? If, for example, they live in a condominium or an apartment or whatever, just drop the stuff off, then leave. Don't even enter the house. I would recommend not entering the house, not entering especially the unit. That's just cause for concern and cause for problems. I wouldn't want that to happen. If you've got a guest who's the opposite sex and you're married, if your spouse isn't there, then just either leave the house or hang out someplace else in the house, but don't hang out alone, just the two of you. These are things that I think are very important. So car rides, visiting houses, or dropping things off at houses, or just having private conversations. I'm very wary of this, especially if you're married. So if you're a single person and you're talking to someone who's actually married of the opposite sex, not your spouse, just avoid it as much as possible. Just have those conversations in group conversations, not one-on-ones, even if it's in a public place, even if it's in a coffee shop, even if you're hanging out with friends, but then you kind of solo each other out. So here's an example. For example, you're a lady, there's a married man, you're all in church, you're all hanging out in the same place, but for some reason you and this married man walk maybe a few meters away from the entire group and have your conversation, just the two of you. That's still dangerous. Same thing, if you're a guy, you're talking to a married woman, somebody else's wife, and you walk a few meters away from the group just to talk, the two of you, be careful. I would not be comfortable with that. Basically, this would be an even bigger red flag, okay, bigger red flag, if they are beginning to confide marital problems, marital issues to you. So imagine a husband talking to a married man, okay, a married man talking to a single girl about his marriage problems, right? It's gonna be like that Usher song, you make me wanna leave, things like that. So just avoid those situations. One last thing I would say is it's perfectly appropriate, perfectly fine if you even verbalize your convictions, So for example, there's someone who says, oh, bro, just come in and drop the stuff, and you'd be like, I don't think it's appropriate. I'm really sorry. I'll just stay outside and I'll drop this and then I'll go now. And I say, oh, you don't even want a drink of water? You carried all these things. It's very heavy and I appreciate it. So, I've got maybe ice cream or whatever. And you could just simply say, I'm trying to protect you and I'm trying to protect myself. I don't want anybody, even if there's nothing between the two of us, we don't know how other people think. We don't know how malicious minds are outside. So even if there's nothing between us, I just want to protect you and me and myself from rumors. I don't want, any ideas in the minds of anyone, right? So it's basically just blamelessness. It's basically just integrity. It's just being careful and respecting the reputation that your brother or sister in the Lord has, or anyone in particular has, and yourself. Same with the driving. If they ask, "Oh, bro, why do you want me to sit in the back? You're gonna look like a driver." I'll just be like, I'd rather look like a driver than a cheater, or I'd rather people think I'm a driver than people think something's going on, right? So just these safety measures might very, very much help in terms of your blamelessness, your integrity, and of course to avoid temptations to happen in your mind or in the mind of someone else. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this was a good reminder for you guys. Again, married or single, doesn't matter. Just be very careful with that, because you don't want to cause others to stumble. Worse, you don't want to put yourself in a situation that's very tempting, or someone else. God bless you guys.